Well, thank you very much. We are ready to roll, and we'll cross our fingers and hope there are no tech issues to run us afoul. Harry, what are your personal expectations for Cafe Dostoevsky?
It's a tough one because I think Keystars they've recently have played quite well on Cafe. This is a map which is certainly one that they're happy to play and have done quite well on. But historically for W7M, it's a big one for them. It's right up their alleyway in terms of playstyles with these really clean executes that we've seen. It's difficult to not favor W7M, especially considering they've just won the first map and the confidence of this team, the energy of that side is going to be right up there. Keystars losing an 8-7, that's a bad feeling if you lose it. Sure, win 8-7, you feel great, but losing it, that's a whole new level of, getting 7-2, 7-3, where it's, okay, fair enough, we were beaten, but they'll be thinking, we should have had that. We should have had Bank. We had a lot of chances to close it out and win that, but they didn't. So, it's mentality for me. It always is going to be mentality going into a second map, but I just think W7M on their map, too strong. Too strong.
Well, if W7M lose their map, then Evo Keystars are going to go back and kick themselves for how close first map of Bank was. Been playing an awful lot of Cafe in this region. Yesterday, Vivo Keystars and Black Dragons had Cafe as the very first map. E1 and FaZe Clan, had it gone all the way, would have had Cafe as well. And now we have two Cafes yet again. I think it's very interesting. I mean, I like this map, I gotta say. It is quite enjoyable. I understand why in a best of 3 teams would shelve Consulate and Night Labs, while not FaZe Clan. They decided to play Consulate yesterday in their match against E1. But I can understand why with the newer maps you don't want to gamble a potential best of 3 on that. That said, Cafe is kind of all reliable. It and Clubhouse are 2 of the maps that really haven't seen a lot of changes recently. I mean, Clubhouse obviously had a small change, but
I'd throw Chalet in the mix as well. I think it's been, the past 2 years, pretty just same thing, isn't it? There's not much really creativity, I think, happening in Chalet. It's just a good map. I think teams will just play it, just do basics right on it. And I certainly believe that Clubhouse, of course, falls underneath that basic. There's nothing that surprises in Clubhouse anymore these days. Really, since SSG came up with the idea of roaming on a basement, that was the last big creative thing we've seen.
there's some creativity on the map. I think you're being maybe a bit uncharitable.
Maybe I'm just the EU brain for me. And oh, look at this! Oh, never mind. I want to say, look at this, but he's just been smoked out, choked out, and kicked out of Cafe. Diffuser cold underneath the skylight. But W7M, Parker, still on top of the map count.
Now it's Hades to engage from this angle. 2 separate players see him, tries to find safe harbor, can't do it. Now it's Daffodil's turn. Lenda to clutch out. Oh. Excellent work on 2, but 2 more to be found. We'll have to double up on those numbers and will be an ace clutch for Lenda if successful. Quite a way to blunt the momentum of a team that looked confident just moments ago. Lenda just only needs a single bullet to be put in the grave. That's it. And with W7M, they're almost always good for 1 bullet. Lenda bail himself out of this position. He sees one. No. KZ flicks on over. W7M is methodical as ever. They drop the gun. They win.
Another quick one. Another quick round for W7M. They get things started. The Ying. So the idea that they went for is Ying's really strong on a map like Cafe. Whenever you look at all the different strong positions defenders can just anchor themselves into, where it's really difficult to challenge onto them. There's not a lot of angles you can get. So using operators like Ying to clear out those positions, blind those players, then drop in the skylight. We see that plenty of times. I'm really surprised that he got down before he even touched the floor, I'm pretty sure. So all credit to Keystars. They were on top of that immediately. They see the Yings go in. I don't know if the idea... He will die. It's thrown me off a little bit. Was that the idea? Was to get the Ying in and try and get the plant down? But then you're having everyone else push towards red. There's nobody else really helping that Ying drop in towards Skylight. Nobody dropping New Hatch. Nobody going on to the cocktail windows. I don't know. I honestly do not know what W7M are thinking.
Is anybody?
Maybe W7M, they might know.
I think W7M has a pretty good inclination of what they want.
But sometimes people don't, Parker. You know what you want every day? You know, you walk in and you think, okay, what cereal do I want to buy? Do you know straight away what cereal you want?
Yeah, I mean, usually. I have a pretty good idea before I leave my house as to what kind of groceries I want.
You're giving me nothing here today, bro.
Yeah, but that's funny for me. It's funny for me to make you
see me suffer?
Sorry?
To see me suffer?
Well, I mean, that's your word. Struggle is what I would have said.
Yeah, struggle, that's a good one.
You're a funny boy, Harry. You can make up jokes on your own. You don't need me to do it.
Yeah, but I always laugh at your jokes. Might be the only one.
You stare right through me.
Of course. I mean, like I said, I might be the only one who actually finds you funny.
That's not true. Carter finds me funny.
Carter finds anything funny.
Perfect. Still works in my favor.
You're kind of guy. You're kind of guy. That's
still works in my favor. W7M decided in the previous round that they wanted to go quickly. It's time they get in the building with a minute to go, and that's the real herds. That's not his gadget. Visas, that cigar and piano are relatively good to go. Gomez is dead. Hornetow almost followed. Avenue on the board as JV92 dies. Those Kiva barriers that continue to go on the window will just be fodder for Fellapox's hammer. Aid goes out. Fellapox gets yet another, and very rightfully so, worried about a jump out from white, but Lenda, who used 3 Kiva barriers on a single window, now has 1 left in pocket.
Some alive, especially whenever they haven't brought any utility denial. It's a shock to see no Jaeger and no Wamai on the board. Remember, you're against a side like W7M where you know they will bring at least 2 sets of nades on a map like Cafe. I think you could have done with something like that, but I suppose he's done it the more difficult way, using the barriers to block off the nades being sent through the window from Philippots. But they haven't really held top floor, I think, long enough, Parker. It gives W7M a good amount of time to start moving in, open up the flooring, start covering off their flanks. You know, they did bring the double flank protection, the gridlock, and the nomad, and this is where the vertical really starts to play havoc if you're defending reading. There's just so many different angles that you can hold from above, and the attackers just have your way with you. Look at this, a retake from Hornetow! Fires through the smoke! Does not get taken out. That rotate, is it even made big enough? Doesn't look like it, and it's cost him his life. Daffodil up close and personal on the reading door, but he gets eliminated. Oh, Hornetow, that is a rough one, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, you got to feel for him in that regard, but it's not just Hornetow, it's every single player of Vivo Keydstars. Cafe is usually defender-sided. Not when it's W7M's map and not with the way W7M are playing. They have pulverized Vivo Keydstars on these 2 rounds. Neither of them have been particularly close. It speaks to the confidence that you have on the map. I mean, that's why you ultimately end up going here. Vivo Keydstars are a team that, Pete said, you know, has a good map pool themselves.
They do.
You can have a great map pool. You have the best map pool of any team. But if you go up against a team that is just more talented and more gifted than you are, like we've said throughout both early match with Black Dragons, where they ended up overcoming E1. Now here, as W7M are making this Cafe look quite fast and easy. It doesn't matter necessarily what map you go to if one team is just simply better. And W7M has given us every reason to think that they are better than, well, pretty much everybody. Not just in Brazil.
No, it's worldwide. And I mean, W7M, you talk about teams who have a good map pool. W7M have, they'll play every map. They will. They don't really mind. Obviously, we've had a shift since the last stage. We've had 2 maps out, 2 maps come in. They banned the 2 new maps straight from the get-go in this series. I would say they're probably hiding them for the major. I think that again, that's the attitude for that side. They'll bring that out when they need to. They don't necessarily need to for this matchup. They're really good on every map, and I think a map like Cafe, it's as equal as to them playing the likes of Bank, playing the likes of Skyscraper. It doesn't matter to W7M. W7M, it's just the team play transcends every single map. They pretty much play the same way. It's just the layout's different.
Still, look at this confidence just walking in. They've droned this entire map out, or at least the parts that they need, in under a minute.
It's great.
That's incredible timing for W7M. It's kind of paralyzing for these Vivo Keydstars players, right? Because, yeah, you can contend against W7M on the roam if you feel your guns are good enough, and why not take the fight to them? You're also allowing W7M to nestle in. They're going to set up and get very comfortable. Utility has already been used by the Gridlock and the Nomad, double the anti-flank potential. You're going to effectively have to fight from the spots that you currently find yourselves in, or you're going to die. And that's what Vivo Keydstars are currently staring down.
You're giving W7M what they want. W7M want to have the freedom, the flexibility, knowing they have so much control. Everyone's on the site. They know that. They've set up the Nomads. They've set up the Gridlocks. Everyone is stuck where they are. It's just a case of W7M getting the drones in, figuring out where these players are, using the vertical to their advantage, and just collapsing into the site. W7M, they are going to need to try and look towards VIP. Nafadil is going to be in the hot seat. We've seen so many times the VIP section of this map is where the freezer drops live or die, essentially. Gomez is holding on in the middle off the bomb site. He's staying alive. He's using the keeper barriers to block off those angles being made from the vertical. Picks up the player inside a freezer. Down goes the VIP player, Parker. That's an important kill on Lenda. He's going to have to fall back now.
Oh, and back to Whiskey. He's gone. 30 seconds left. Lenda will be able to continue with these fights because of his position in that red hall. Now Gomez taking some damage as there go the Candelas. 8's far enough back. Lenda still putting in good work. W7M had the advantage. It was gone. Now the nearsightedness as Lenda patrols on over. This round is over for Vivo Keydstars. They win it in relatively easy fashion, just as W7M has done with the first two rounds.
I love the position from Lenda. Knows he has to move back. Knows he lost his teammate inside of VIP. W7M just allowed him to do that. They weren't quick enough on the collapse. As soon as that player gets killed in VIP, W7M should just be like a swarm of ants. Straight to the point. They know exactly what they want, but just too slow. It gives Lenda that time to reposition. He's in a very strong position of coat. There's no nades left from W7M, so he is fairly safe in that position. I don't actually know where Hates was playing from. I want to say he was just playing from just back of kitchen. Nobody was on the vertical line, which was another big shock for me. Just a couple of issues there from W7M, but Keydstars, they can only play what's in front of them. Like I said, I think they positioned well, they fell back well, they burned enough time when needed, and they get their first round.
Very unlikely that an attacking team will win a full rotation on pretty much any of these maps, so I'd say the scoreline is par for the course. If W7M can prove to be successful 2 more times on this first half on their map of Cafe, I think they are going to be in perfect spot, when they move to defense. Of course, that's speculation. Might end up being maybe a very attacker-favored Cafe, and we're just along for the ride and seeing the beginning of it right now. Buck the trend of Cafe over the last little while, but things can always change on their head. I look at these operator bands of Dokkaebi and Capitao and think, okay, well, the attackers are actually missing 2 very important tools, but Monty's on the board, not that it's been played by W7M. Ying is on the board, who's not presently an operator that's been picked by W7M, but has been played so far. So, I mean, yeah, you lose 2 really good staples. As for the defenders, you've lost Solus and Valkyrie. Those are great defender operators, but Fenrir's open. Kaid is open for those hatches. You've got Nazami, who will be played every single round now that she's allowed. I don't see anything that necessarily will flip the script from these operator bans, because even though there are good bans here, there's still options that you can flex onto both attack and defense.
I think me and Rob talked about this a couple of weeks ago whenever we were casting. We were talking about the idea of extending the bans, and I'm all for it. I think you're at the stage where, sure, you ban away strong operators. We know that Souls and Valkyrie are very strong, but like you mentioned, you've got Azami, Fenrir, Mira. All of those are I think, game-changing operators if you can have them on your side. So I certainly like the idea of maybe extending that ban pool. Because how long have we had these bans for? What, 4 years nearly now, Parker? I think we could do with a couple extra.
8's now taking some damage and doesn't seem to know from where, but that's because it looks like it's through that freezer wall. Down goes Lenda in a similar position where Hates was, and it's almost like he seems a little bit surprised by it. Hates knows somebody is over by Cigar, and while he's getting danced around by the drones, 2 Kiba barriers to keep him safe. Ooh, the upside down repel could very easily catch him if KZ looks in the right direction, but Hates is safe. Birds, the numbers touted on the desk, how good of a player he is, but this particular matchup has not been his usual self. Failure to flush Hates out of this position, Harry, has resulted in Felipox dying, and now it's Vivo Keydstars with the numbers advantage.
Nobody pushing in towards Cigar Shop. Big issue. Didn't put the pressure onto that Azami. Maybe it's because W7M are scared. Look at all the utility still placed inside of Piano as we speak. Shields are up. Kiba barriers are up. JV92 needs to be careful. There's a player prone inside a freezer. JV92 could probably kill him, but never mind. Daffodil appears. He's been a standout player today, Parker. A great shot on the JV92, and with 25 seconds to go, it's a 2v4 nade. Crouch walking slowly up the long bar, eliminates Daffodil. That player still prone inside a freezer, gets taken out by nade, and has to find 2 more. No, does not get close to that. Gomez appears in the bathroom, takes him out. And Keydstars on the bounce back 2 in a row. Parker, we have a game here.
We absolutely do. 2-2. I mean, again, let's look back at the cafes that we've seen recently and throughout the entire stage of Brazil. Go back to yesterday. Cafe was the first map played between Vivo Keydstars and Black Dragons, and Vivo Keydstars won 5 rounds on Cafe defense. Now, W7M are already ahead of that number. With 2 more rounds to go, if W7M goes 3 of those 6 rounds, that's excellent shape based solely on the matchup 4. Cafe's been playing a number of times and just running through all of the data, trying to find all of the pick rates on Cafe, which of course is harder to do than you'd think. Looking at the other regions, you expect a 4-2 scoreline. Yep. Basically a 4-2 scoreline on defense is what you expect. So Vivo Keydstars are half of the way there. W7M are already where they need to be. There is room for error here for the major champions. But there's a worrying sign that I've seen through this entire matchup that wasn't just here on Cafe, but was very much on display over on Bank, was that I think it was by my count 4 rounds where W7M had a numbers advantage of 1 or more, and they ultimately botched it. And when they botched it, it wasn't just missed opportunities, it was that they genuinely didn't look like they know where they needed to go. Monty getting shot in the back with a shotgun is something that really should never happen, and yet it did. In that previous round, W7M got picked off from angles they didn't think. Vivo Keydstars are taking advantage of what seems to be a poor day for coordination from W7M.
Yeah, great point. They look strong when they are strong, but they look very weak whenever they are weak. It's tale of 2 halves for W7M for the most part. They will be, of course, attempting the mid-floor bomb site, which worked out well for them. It was reading last time. This time it is going to be in towards that fireplace and mining, which is there much of a difference between how both of these sites are played out from an attacking perspective? Not really. You still take above. That never really changes. Felipox is in the site, Parker. He's crept his way in. Daffodil, you have no idea where he is. He thinks he's in reading. He's not. He's having dinner in your own house. He's in dining, Daffodil. You need to collapse on that and make sure he cannot get out of there. But he is none the wiser. W7M, it's just a period of where they have to get themselves to assist Felipox, and here comes the swing. Now Daffodil knows where he is, but Felipox dancing around the table, eliminates Gomez. Oh, a no-scope Eagle out of nowhere! You can't teach that! Felipox on fire right now!
Goodness gracious! Hates will deny a flawless round and will have to drop through the hatch, which is main way towards the bomb site. Stopped by that castle barricade, smashed open, knows that the sledge is within close contact. Still upstairs, nade goes up. Not the player, a grenade. And Herds takes matters into his own hands. That's 3 rounds on attack for W7M. Cannot lose the first half.
They're doing more than winning it as well. They're just demolishing whenever they are in that position. Like I said, whenever they win the rounds, Parker, it's so convincing. It really is for W7M. But then whenever Keydstars wins, it's convincing for them as well. You know, W7M having a real personality split right now. Philippox, just how? Just why? Who did that to you? Why did you do it to them? So many questions you'd love to ask him, but he's a great player. I think a very smart player, Philippox. Very underrated. Very, very underrated. And I know you brought the point earlier about Volps. It almost feels as though, like, Volps going out and Philippox in. It feels like an upgrade to me. Is that crazy to say?
I don't think it's crazy to say at all.
Volps is
W7M just seemed to be getting better.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. I was gonna say, you're the one who's talking about. I'm agreeing with you.
It's. I think him coming in, obviously, there's question marks, like you mentioned before. People thought, oh, this is the end. Oh, Julio's gone. Oh, big veteran gone. Who's going to lead them? Who's going to do all that? Doesn't matter. They still went on to win a major with the two new players, and I feel as though the skill ceiling is just getting higher and higher and higher. Obviously, Julio, we've seen, was coming to the end of his career, as we've seen the retirement came out after Invitational. So there certainly was all eyes in W7 to see where they were going to go and who they were going to get. And then Volps comes out of the blue. It was a very quick turnover as well. Volps going to Liquid. It was, very close to the new stage start. And then for them to get the new players in such a time and then go on to win the major is a massive feat in its own. Anywho, basement for the last defense for Keystars. This worked out well for them last time, Parker. It was just an anchor on site, turtling in towards kitchen, using the Izami to cover off the players in the site so they cannot get killed from the vertical angles being made by the attack. I would say that this time W7M will clear away those keeper barriers in better fashion than what they did previously. They have nades. Let's see if they can keep them to get rid of the Izami barriers, or maybe get the Flores in.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really focus on bakery all that much. If you're W7M, you want to take out VIP, you want to go through whiskey, you want to go through coat check, that's fine, but you actually need to clear that spot instead of allowing a warden to just ruin your entire day. I do like the fact that it isolates Hates inside a bakery because he's a tremendously talented player, but forcing him to retake will provide a spectacle for us because of the skill that he has. We have to get to that point first. Daffodil in this position by VIP loses shield. As long as he stays alive, he can jostle those dread mines and will do just that. Half of the round used. Gomez inside a freezer, watching it get torn away at as now a flash goes in. Not affected by it, but droned out and will now need to retreat to the safety of said Kiba barriers. Losing some of them. That's the power of a Flores, and still 2 Rotero drones to go. KZ not really interested at the moment in using it, so instead we'll flash out the corner. Look at this coordination.
Much, much better from W7M. They're clearing away the Kiba barriers inside of Coffee. That was an issue for them previously, and also it helps out with clearing away the VIP shield, which happened earlier in the round. It's just a case of making sure that nothing goes unchecked, no stone is left unturned. You have everything going for you, W7M. All you have to do is the basics. Philippox still above, making sure that the player in Rice is kept in the Rice. Nobody can move from there, but somehow it's happened again, Parker. They've went unchecked, and the collapses came in from the defense. They fought back against the players on attack, and W7M are stuck in the state of just no man's land. They don't know where to go. There's hardly any time left for them. Nade has picked up Horn of Tau. They're moving in deep. Nade has the diffuser in his hand. He will try and get the plant down. Philippox has moved into sync to try and cover, but no, Lenda, there's a flank out. How on earth has he done that? He just walked up through white. Nobody was there. Where's the drones? Where's the flank watch?
That's 2 rounds in a row that Lenda has done this. I mean, he plays it completely differently. I'm assuming he dropped the hatch. That must be my...
No, he walked white. He walked up white corridor.
So
Not a drone.
They
Nobody
had
in
to
sight.
open it up to get the revive, and then that same entry point is what dooms them.
You can't make it up. It's unbelievable.
I mean, this is not like W7M. Vivo Keydstars now, by my count, 6 separate times in this match. 6 times Vivo Keydstars have beaten W7M, where W7M looked like they were going to clear out the bomb site, get the diffuser down, win the round. And guess what happens? None of those times do they actually prevail, because Vivo Keydstars comes at you from unpredictable angles. I don't know if it's poor communication. I don't know if it's just an off day or not. But man, oh man, do W7M look mortal in the dying moments of this round. Not the same lethality from them where they can immediately close out a game. How many times did we see them up 5v4, 5v3, 4v3, and you think, yeah, there's absolutely no way this team is going to give up an advantage. We would say that. Now, the advantage hasn't really meaned all that much. I will say, though, to just kind of blunt our expectations, W7M winning 3 on attack is very good in and of itself. JV92 not having a kill, not very good. Vivo Keydstars can win 1 or 2 rounds on attack very quickly. W7M are going to be in significantly troubling position. And I don't know, with the way that we've seen these tail end of the rounds, if Vivo Keydstars can keep up that momentum. I don't know if W7M will be able to do what's necessary to stop Vivo Keydstars eventually winning those final 2 rounds and taking it at 3rd map, which of course is Chalet.
Cafe, it is a map which is kill orientated a lot of the times. If you can just win your individual trades, maybe repelling them a window and catching somebody by surprise, that's enough to see you over the line on a map like Cafe. JV92 hasn't done any of that, 0 kills. But I will say that I think W7M will feel a little bit more comfortable on the defense. I think with the operators at their disposal, JV, you get your kill, but you have been downed. I'd be surprised if he gets picked up. If he does, and it'll be a fight the mission for W7M. Hates doesn't want to go for it because he knows there's going to be a drone to confirm the kill. It gets sent in. Daffodil picks it up. But still, a kill is a kill for JV92, and eliminating nades from Hornetow is a big one.
Well, they're it'd be a little bit calmer now in the final 90 seconds. If you do not have the tools at your disposal, dropping those hatches can be a very scary predicament. There's confidence on the side of Vivo Keydstars. Daffodil drops. Gomez will go for the swing. To get killed from the backside? No, there's a nade from Hates, but everything breaking in favor of W7M. They're in a 3v1. With the way they've played so far today, this is far from certain, but they're on defense, so I like their chances. Up red stairs, Hates goes, and one in piano, one inside of the bar looking in your direction, and now you might get some information, but good trigger discipline from Hates. Doesn't want to take these fights. Looking away, and, well, W7M will double up on him. That last round probably should have been theirs, but this round is indeed theirs. A very successful first defense for W7M.
Top floor, expected to be a good defense. Just especially with Azami up, that's always the big thing. You look at that piano, Parker, there's so many different objects that you can place the Kiba barriers on. You know, that big double door could just be covered off entirely, being able to put the Kiba barriers on the edge of the stage, then it covers up the windows. Very strong operator, and to see her let through in Cafe is somewhat of a surprise, but it kind of shows us why you should be banning that. It's so strong. So at least top floor's locked down. They don't need to worry about that. We will head downstairs in towards the kitchen. This is pretty generic of what you expect to see in the rotation. It's top, then bottom, and then whatever middle floor you want to go for, by all means. Another interesting talking point, Parker, is we mentioned the mute man on Pine. It was something that Keydstars took away from W7M, which I think it helped them, sometimes getting into the building with the attackers, especially getting in fast. Now we see the mute open, and straight away, you're going to expect to see W7M play this operator. It's great for Cafe. Cafe has a lot of tight, narrow doorways, especially whenever you look upstairs. You think about White Doorway, even onto like Shaiko Door, you can place the Mute Jammer there, might catch somebody by surprise. Down in towards Bakery, you can cover them on the walls downstairs. A lot of valuable places to deny the drones through Mute, so having this up for W7M, it's a great tool in the arsenal for them.
A lot to talk about in these matchups, that sometimes going back and addressing which operators are and aren't available kind of slips through the cracks, but you're absolutely correct. I mean, if Vivo Keydstars are being denied information on attack time and time again, I don't know if they as a unit are able to bounce back from that the same way that W7M would be. You know, not that any team wants to come across that. SSG won a world championship in an intel denying meta. I don't know if Lendo is denied information or not, but Fellapox will capitalize off of whatever missteps Vivo Keydstars has. And speaking of missteps, AZ slaughtered over by Piano Window. Probably doesn't hear the window break. Daffodil walks away with that. Daffodil, honestly, in many ways, having the series of his career, even if it hasn't amounted to a ton of success for Vivo Keydstars just yet.
I've been very impressed. Very impressed with this side. Daffodil's been a standout. Also on the role he's playing, it's not a role that you would see, you know, light up the sky. It is a more of a support-orientated position he's been playing. So to see him do the damage that he's doing on that role, yeah, it's a credit to him. We mentioned about the mute. All that's going to do, realistically, he starts to slow them down. And how well can they play under pressure whenever that time of having to spend a long periods off the match, just clearing a few mute jammers and then droning, and then going to another and then droning that again. It wastes so much time. You would not believe how good mute is in the current meta, and that's why you do see all of the great teams picking that operator up. With a minute to go, they have that control of top floor. They can start opening up the different angles in the vertical holes. But the next thing they need to worry about is where the remaining players who are not going to be in the bomb site, for example, Herds, he's rotated towards front. Desk, and now he has rotated back in towards Coat. Philippox is just in the middle of the site, holding on to vertical angles, and Nade holding down that freezer hatch. But Parker, from the outlines, it doesn't look as if they're interested in freezer at all. We've got players pushing from Bakery now.
Oh, Herds testing his metal, and that's a gunfight that could go against him very quickly on. Flashbangs to his back, Nade tossed in, Vivo Keydstars striking when it matters. Now they've reduced this defense for W7M to Nade, who dies. Vivo Keydstars, they're fourth on the board. This is a very close best of three so far.
There's a backstab. We've seen there was somebody towards Bakery. He just walks in, nobody's home for W7M. Losing that player in VIP does so much damage to the defense, because that is where a lot of the defenders will place most of their utility. I will say I think both teams are really lacking in the utility department. You know, we've seen Wamai a few times, but I think you need to be bringing Wamai and Jaeger. I just think it's a necessity, for, especially with how both teams are playing. They're not playing overly aggressive on a very heavy roam game. They seem to be very reserved in sight. You're just a sitting duck in a lot of the positions on that bottom floor. You need to be bringing more denial. You need to stop those nades from having an impact. We've seen a nade kill happen in the last rounds. That would be the only thing I would say to both teams is, whenever you want to play more slow, on your kitchen defenses, bring more of that utility denial, because it helps out. It really does.
Wondered if the Jackal would come into effect here, if maybe have some difficulties with the mute ban, as you said, or the mute rather being on the board, and the Mozzie too. Is we'll see a Mozzie yet again. JV92 had that singular kill on the run out, then got traded off, and that's been about it. You have to imagine that if he was just having ultimately a better game, this wouldn't really be as close as it has been. Conversation that we had about W7M on Bank is that this is a team of equals. So if you have somebody not showing up on a team of equals, that can be bad, depending on where everybody else stands. 1 kill for JV92, but then 6 kills for Nade and Hertz apiece. 7 kills for Fellapox, KZ at 8. Relatively even. Game of equals. Down goes Daffodil. Another first pick for W7M. They've gotten first blood on every single round so far on defense. Not really helped them in the previous round, but This time, maybe something changes. No way, Hertz is going to go for the vault out here, right?
Oh, a player.
I can't believe
Two
that.
players.
Two separate players here.
Close. Very close for Hertz. And he got his kill. That's the main thing. As long as you're trading back efficiently on the defensive side, you always keep that man up now since you've done well to get in front. You should have no issues with Cafe. Losing that first blood is so impactful on Cafe, where there is, you know, it's a big square. That's what Cafe is. The design of it, it's 4 different sides. You want to be hitting at least 3 of those different sides. If you don't have the manpower to do that, you will struggle big time on this type of map. Sure, Hertz has died, but again, he gets the trade back. Casey, what a shot! It's just a Zami Parker. There's no one else who can swing with this confidence. You know you're safe. You have those concrete barriers. Just go for it.
Daisy still gets the trade on Nalenda, by the way.
Oh,
he dies.
Yeah, that's 2 trades.
Outside
2
with
trades.
a minute to go. Last one left.
My oh my.
I mean, Hornetau's a talented player. You've got JV92 on the board, so I mean, at least there might possibly be one opportunity for a kill here, but I expect a lot of patience from W7M. Diffuser is not in their grasp, but Elapox sides, why not take the engagement? Softens up Hornetau. And look at that.
Ooh.
Over in heaven. Hornetau. Can you find even one of them?
Come outside, Hornetau.
Just want to say hello.
Just a slow, painful death for him. Eventually gets picked off, but that was, it wasn't a case of if he'll die, it's when was he gonna die?
Yep.
Not much you can do. Everyone's been there on Cafe, where your entire team has just died within 10 seconds, and you're sat on the rooftop thinking, guys, what's happened? And then you have to drop onto a hatch, your top red stairs, and on Cafe, everyone under the sun knows if you drop that hatch, and it's, yeah, it's chalked from there pretty much. Rightly so, Huge Stars, that was around with a big tilt fiesta, not being able to hit the kills back in your favor, and some great shots being hit from W7M. I don't really fault them, because how do you play around shots like that from KZ? You don't. Okay, don't peek him. Then you're not going to win. It's a cruel game, Siege. Whenever somebody is hitting those kind of shots, what can you really do?
What was that a genuine question, or was that a rhetorical question that you were like setting up yourself to that?
Whatever you want it to be.
It's not what I want it to be,
yourself.
Harry. It's your casting.
My casting. It's a good debate that I think a lot of different esports have had. It's if one player's just on his game, you can't really stop it. You just can't. That's him. Take, for example, M&M versus BDS that happened last week. Shaiko dropped 47 kills in a best of 3.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do much about that. It's just you've been Shaiko'd. And whenever a player is on top of their game, and he is hitting every single shot you go into, I don't really think that's your fault on the enemy side. It's just that guy's just better than you blatantly. And that is life. People will be better than you in life, Parker. The sooner people realize that, the sooner this world will be a better place.
Well, Vivo Keed Stars use their timeout. Do they manage to get back on the board? Keep this one close, or do we see W7M break away, go back to bank? W7M were up 5-3, but Vivo Keed Stars push us all the way to match point. W7M pulls off the comeback in overtime. Here, W7M have been in lockstep. W7M win 2 rounds. Vivo Keed Stars do the same. 1 round for W7M, 1 for Vivo Keed, 1 for W7M, 1 Vivo Keed, 1 W7M. If we go by the pattern, then Vivo Keed should win this round. We go all the way. This one right here, this could be the sucker punch. W7M are able to hold off, get that first pick, as they are perfect so far through 3 rounds to do so. I don't know if Vivo Keed Stars have the tools. I don't know which one of these operators you want to lose first, by the way. Certainly not Lenda. Likely not Daffodil. I imagine it'll be Hates or Hornetau, the first to die on the team. Not necessarily the first to die in the round, but based on the way that these teams are playing. That's what I have to imagine. No, again, I'm kind of skeptical of the Jackal, but I would imagine now that it does confirm the suspicion we had about Vivo Keydstars struggling with information against a Mute and Mozzie, which hilariously are absent in this round.
That's exactly the point of why you bring the Jackal. If you know that you're going to be slowed down and we're getting for the Mute Jammers, it's a quick and easy way to hunt. Bring in that Jackal. The only person who can avoid a Jackal ping is Cav, which, is anyone playing Cav these days? I don't think it.
No.
So it's a bit of a no-brainer to bring Jackal, because he doesn't really have a counter apart from just don't walk, don't move. If you just spawn in, don't move, he'll not get you. But as we know, that's not how Siege is going to be played 9 times out of 10. Anywho's, you look towards that basement floor, and again, it's very seldom from W7M. They're not looking to get too frisky, not looking to get into the faces of Keydstars. They're happy enough to sit back. I'm still worried of the lack of denial. No denial for the nades, no denial for the flashbangs. You are going to be in for a world of hurt whenever this execute comes in. So you would be relying, I think, on a Warden here, but they're not even bringing a Warden, which is a big shock. I think Warden's a great operator for basement, where teams do like to use smoke grenades to cover up their pushes. Oh, look at this! Smoke canister goes in, but he just full-on tanks at Hornatel, loses the engagement. How on earth has Herds won that? I will never know. Looks towards gold stairs, pre-fires out, but Lion not wanting to make the move just yet. Herds catches a glimpse, tags him up, but Gomez has to fall back. He's not going to be able to push that. Oh, a swing from the smoke, but look at that trade from Herds. He's playing a blinder in VIP. Digs himself in deep. A player isn't Freezer going to know that. A red ping comes in, and oh, peekaboo. Casey's there. Herds with another. My oh my. Herds, man of the minute.
There was the reason for why you could not get Herds out of that position. The Rotero drone was there. With the way that Daffodil put the Rotero drone, there was no way to swing from that angle and not either get gravely wounded or ultimately blown up from your teammate's own gadget. So with the smoke lingering, which you can honestly truck through, that's not a problem. Yeah. But then add the Rotero drone to it. It's impossible for them to swing and flush Herds out of that spot without dying too. Now, I will say the way that Herds ended up playing in that position, trading to kill Herds in retrospect, looks like it would have been a brilliant idea. You can't necessarily approach it like that, because you're not thinking, okay, well, if I die and I kill the guy and the rest of the team wins the round, then it turns around and Herds gets a 3K because you don't do that. You don't have that benefit of hindsight. But that one little thing, that one drone would have killed the player on Vivo Keydstars' side. They have to relent. Daffodil's drone goes off. W7M allow Herds to play in that position, then get back into the fray. And that's curtains on the round as the rest of Vivo Keydstars, running out of time, decide that the freezer execute can go on. In all reality, it was already over. W7M move to series point. 1 round away from being the first team in Brazil, the defending major champs, to make it to the next major in Atlanta.
Said it was a sucker punch. If they're able to win that last round, I think that's developed into a gut punch for Keydstars. They've used their timeout. They can't really come and cool themselves down after losing that, knowing that they're up against match point. W7M in the driver's seat. It feels as though Keydstars is locked in the trunk. That's what it feels like, because they've just taken control of this game as soon as we've had that side switch. Keydstars only winning 1 attack on this half. They have to pull back too. They have to get over the top floor, which, as we know, is the strong one. With W7M in this state, it's difficult taking them down. A little bit surprised to see no Azami. It worked out so well for W7M during this game, and to see them actually sacrifice that in favor of a castle. That's obviously going to help them with the cigar shop hold and also in towards piano. Is a little bit surprising, but maybe they went for, I did ask for more denial of utility. They've went for a Rune Jaeger and the Wamai, a triple threat of utility deniers.
How do you cut through this? Keydstars have their work cut out for them, if I can continue that pun onward. Attackers having the benefit of the repick means they can tailor their setup to deal with the challenges on the top floor. We've got 6 flashbangs, so that'll take care of the ADSs. That'll take care of KZ's laser gates. Oh my. That's not good, but at least it's traded back. That means that every single round of their defense so far, either W7M is struck first or tied up. 4 rounds in a row of drawing first blood. 5 technically, but then again, no advantage gained because Fellapox dies right after. Still, it's excellent position to be in when you're on defense.
Parker, I'm really shocked as well from Keedstars. They have 8 drones destroyed. 2 drones left. We talked about how they were running blind whenever they didn't want to go up against the mute jammers. They can't even keep the drones alive long enough. Don't even worry about a mute. They are solely relying on just blind gunplay, and that's not going to work out against a team like W7M, where their crossfires and their trades and their refrags are so in unison with one another. They even banned a Solus to make sure their drones stayed alive, and they still can't even do that. They're going to go for the slug out white stairs, just trying to trade their way back, but W7M, look at the reposition. They fell back in towards Cigar Shop, and they're going to play the long angles.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly where you want to be, right? And in comes the swing. Down goes Gomez. Lenda will follow. Hates to keep Vivo Keedstars in it. No, the defending major champions have a shot at doing it again in Atlanta. W7M, the first team from Brazil to qualify.
What a surprise! W7M will be back to see if they can go back-to-back major champions. We'll see them in Atlanta. Keedstars, it's not done yet. You move into another matchup. You will then face the loser of FaZe versus WNIP. And Parker, as much as what we're going to give credit to W7M, which